Friends, good morning to all of you. This particular session is, I would say, is an innovation towards instructional method because these days the teachers have been employing only the lecture mode of imparting instruction. And as you know, that lecture has been the earliest known method of teaching when books were not available, manuscripts were very rare, and teachers have been employing only the lecture mode of imparting instruction. And you all know that every day thousands of teachers deliver the exact same lesson in class to millions of students, isn't it? And every night, millions of students sit over the exact same homework trying to figure out how to solve it. So, lecture, you see, why we have been employing because lecture is the most convenient and I would say inexpensive method that can be employed by teachers for teaching various subjects in technical institutions. Why I say it is inexpensive? It is inexpensive in the sense that one can assume it without much effort, material, and it can adapt itself to the size of the audience, the time, the content, or objectives of learning. So, the broad purpose of imparting instruction through lecture mode is to provide factual information. But you see, the lectures are not sufficient are not appropriate when objectives other than acquisition of information being sought, or you can say when long term retention is required. Lectures are not appropriate. Lectures are not appropriate when the content is complex, abstract, or detailed, or when higher cognitive objectives are being sought. Say, the Bloom's taxonomy. At the lowest level is the remembering, then comes understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So far as the remembering part, or to some extent understanding part, is concerned, the lectures are proved to be appropriate. Lectures are not appropriate for higher cognitive domain, like say the the analyzing part, evaluating part, and the creating part. And lectures are not appropriate when you want to demonstrate the skill or you want to develop adequate attitudes among students. And these are not appropriate when the students are average or below average in their intelligence or in their experience. Now, if you take 1 minute and find out uh, how uh, these lectures have been, you see, very much boring to the students, because majority of the teachers employ a one-way lecture. One-way lecture, as you all know, means delivering the instruction where one teacher teaches a group exclusively by one way communication, usually by talking at the students. Of course, lecture seems to be cost effective because you can cover more content matter in less time. You need not plan for it. You need not organize because it is easy to organize. And but when you look at the shortcomings of lecture, you see lectures where the rate of delivery is not adequate, He sometimes uses very difficult language when he is not able to integrate instructional media in the classroom. And you know that there are varied learning needs of the students, there are varied learning outcomes. So uh, you can finish this notation by writing one sentence: if I could fix one thing in my classes, it would be. So what are some of the needs that you have identified? I think you will agree with me that there are four categories of common findings, because I have asked this question to the large gatherings in the past also. So the common findings are in respect of student motivation, unique instructional capabilities, because the teachers have got, but because of paucity of time, they are not able to, because their role is to complete the content in the lecture hall. The teachers are not providing opportunities for continuing discussion amongst the peer, okay, support for new instructional approaches. And teacher wants to do, you see, much more than mere chalk and talk and do frequent assessment in respect of teachers increase productivity. Now you see, firstly, in a teaching learning situation, as a teacher, I need to capture the interest of my students. Now look at the lecture method. How many of you are able to create interest amongst the students? You want, but many a times we are not able to create or the capture the attention of the students. I want students to have a greater sense of control over their learning. Again, not possible in lecture method, because the control is only with the teacher. He has to, you see, pour the information into the minds of the students. And since my students are not prepared for class discussion, so why they are not, you see, prepared? Because they are, you see, very much busy with the textbook reading. Now the teacher has got unique instructional capabilities. As a teacher, I need to be able to demonstrate processes. Many times the media is not available, equipments are not available, and the content is too much, and many a time the teacher is simply dictating from his notes to the students. Friends, as a teacher, I think my students need access to extra resources to update or expand on what the text offers, because we are simply busy in pouring the information. We are not giving them any reference to extra resources. Large number of good resources are available in the YouTube or in the Google. I would like my students to track their progress in the course. I ask one or two questions only to one or two students, and I'm not able to know whether all the students have got my input or not. I'm not, you see, including the MCQs written in the Google form. My students need to be able to assess their understanding of the content. Again, not possible in a lecture. Even I would like to provide students with more immediate feedback of their work. Now, you see that how many of you, you see, have given immediate feedback on the students' assignments. And many a time the teacher asks oral question and he, you see, ignores giving any kind of feedback to the student on his answer. My students, you see, need to spend more time on task, practicing a skill. This part is totally missing in a lecture mode because the teacher is busy in delivering the instruction. Now, in respect of support for new instructional approaches, I would like to reduce the amount of time spent in class on lecturing without sacrificing coverage of the content. Can I do? Yes, of course. If you provide the lecture material to the students in advance and let they you see practice the you see that content in the classroom or solve the problem in the classroom. You see, my students need opportunities for continuing discussion amongst them. I'm not involving them. And you see, I would like to help my students focus more on understanding and application, okay, rather than will be will this be on the test, because we are focusing on the rote memorization rather than helping them understand and apply whatever they have learned in the class in other situation to solve the problem. I would like my students, I would like to give my students a greater sense of responsibility for their learning. This is possible if you have given them some content in the form of self learning material in advance. They are required to study at home. We are making them, thereby we are making them responsible for their learning. And when they come to the class, they can seek clarification, they can seek for more information, they can ask the teacher to supplement with more examples. Now, in respect of increased teacher productivity, I would like to do more activity based learning in the class. But you see, I have a lot of content, lot of material I need to cover. I would like students to have more frequent grade updates. This is possible if you insert Google Form MCQs in between the classroom, in between the lecture. So, in what category would you put your need? That is the most important part is the application. That is, faculty needs to be encouraged to move from a teaching model. Teaching model means where teacher acts as a sage on the stage. Sage, you know, a person who has got wisdom, intelligence because of the experiences, to a learning model, that is when the teacher acts as a guide on the side of the students. Now the question is, how do you do? Okay. Now you see, uh, the students are, you see, today's students, they are net savvy. Now the question is, how do we reach this new generation of learners, because they are highly devised. Why I am saying? Because many devices have become popular across generations, and you know that today majority of people are owning these cell phones, laptops, desktop computers, etc. Okay, younger students, you see, are leading the way in increased mobility, preferring laptops to desktops. They are highly networked. They they are connected to the world through network, through internet, and they can collect the information, they can get the information from anywhere, and that too very rapidly, very quickly. They are highly interactive. They don't want to work alone. They want to be, they want to interact with their fellow friends, and they are highly social. So if you I give you one survey which was conducted on 8 to 18-year-old kids, and that was conducted by Kaiser Family Foundation in 2005. This survey has reported significant results that about 6 hours 21 minutes the kids spend with media per day, and 26% of the time they use more than two media simultaneously. 3 hours on TV video per day, 1 hour on music per day, 1 hour using computer other than for the school or college work, 49 minutes playing video games, 43 minutes on recreational reading. So to them, computers are not technology, and they are indulging in multitasking. Now, multitasking can mean many things, including doing two or more tasks at the same time, such as listening to the music while studying, and most of us have experienced this thing. Multitasking can include switching back and forth between tasks. For example, reading a textbook and checking social media between pages. That is doing a number of tasks quickly, one after the other. For example, say answering a practice task question, reading another subject's homework, or studying one page of notes, and so on. But at the same time, we have to admit that multitasking while doing homework or doing tasks in the class can interfere with a person's or with a student's ability to learn and absorb information. And friends, reality is more and more a meaningless term for them, because most of their waking time is spent in virtual world. Now let us have a look at what we know about successful learning. The student has to be active. So actively engaging students with material through discussion, problem solving, case study, role play. Dr. Amandeep Kaur has already discussed with you certain active learning strategies to make them active in the classroom. Contextual, that is a type of constructive learning that enables the students to understand the facts or figures and relate them with real life examples or examples from word of work, and even they can apply their applications. So contextual, engaged, and this is an you see educational strategy, interactive, and you see social. And if you look at the learning pyramid, yeah, you will appreciate this one, that if that is we tend to comprehend only 10% of what we read. That is, if I'm given a book to read, I can complete the chapter, but I will be able to you retain 10%. 10%, because while reading, I may have certain queries, certain questions for which I need, you see, some hint or some solution. Not possible. And when a teacher is delivering lecture, and most of us are simply hearing, we are not listening, because listening is with understanding, and we listen to the teacher only if he relates the content with examples from daily life, or he integrates certain media while delivering lecture in the classroom. So we are able to retain or comprehend only 20% of what we hear, and 30% of what we see. That is, if he has brought certain media, PPT, and you see 50% we can comprehend if the teacher is using or involving sense of hearing and sense of sight, hear and see. And when we are asked to contribute, we can comprehend 70%, and 90% of what we both say and do. Okay, that is doing the real thing. So you can relate this one. So to address these needs, we try to open the class time for active learning strategies. But the question is, how do I do that and still provide the same coverage of the content? The answer lies in flipping the classroom. So the flipped classroom is turning this upside down, because traditionally the students listen to lectures and take tests in class and read textbooks and work on problem sets at home. But in flip teaching, it is reverse. In flip teaching, students first study the topic by themselves, because the learning material has been provided to the student in advance. They can study the topic themselves at home. They can use video lessons. The teacher has identified some video lectures available on YouTube, or teachers has given some self-learning material, and then apply the knowledge by solving problems and doing practical work in the class. That is, reading the content at home and coming to the class, asking for clarification, completing the homework or practice task question in the class. And friends, let me tell you that these days many modern institutions world over have started employing flipped classroom, because they have reported many benefits. Flipped classroom allows all students to learn at their own pace. In a classroom teaching, teachers sometimes deliver the content at a very high speed. There are slow learners sitting in the classroom, but here the material can be read again and again, And if you have provided them some video, he can watch the video again and again, so at his or her own pace. It is more efficient as students enter the classroom with preparation and they are going to contribute. And thirdly, it can enrich the lecture or the topic as more time can be spent on projects or group work. And doing homework in class, doing homework in class rather than carrying out at home. So, doing homework in class allows students to help each other, which benefits both the average and below average students. So, a flipped classroom is an instructional strategy and a type of blended learning. I would say blended learning, some part online, some part offline, focusing on student engagement, focusing on active learning, giving the teacher a better opportunity to deal with mixed levels of students. They can solve the student difficulties. So you see, we are living in a time when things are moving very fast, isn't it? The rules of the game are changing, science is changing, technology is changing, and the world of work has also changed. But, friends, our students are, for the most part, still constrained by traditional transmission models of learning. Today, the students grew up with internet access, YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook, MySpace. They can typically be found doing their homework while texting their friends. I mean, that is exchanging near real time messages, listening to music, all at the same time. So, the use of the traditional method, which focuses on the teacher as the center of knowledge, is irrelevant today's digital age. And you see, many a times the students ask the teacher, why should we attend your class? You are simply giving dictation from a particular book. We have the access to that book. So they want lot of discussion in the classroom where they can contribute. Lecture content you can give to them to study at home. So as a solution, traditional classroom approach, like that is lecture, etc., can be moved to web 2.0 technology, and students can read and they can study the content everywhere, anywhere outside the classroom. So the flipped classroom, you see, has been highlighted as the emerging technology. Now you see the traditional classroom, the teacher stands in front of the student and delivers instruction, and students are given some activity to carry out homework. Now in flipped classroom, the students the student reads the material or tries to understand the material individually at home, and in the classroom active learning takes place. Either you need to supplement or you need to you see clarify their doubts, or some uh, a list of exercises can be given, and at the end the teacher can give, say, 20 MCQ questions based upon that topic through Google form, and student can take 10 minutes to complete it. So what is typically given as homework is done in class with the assistance of the teacher. So here the students are more active than the teacher in the classroom activity. So here the teacher is going to act as a facilitator to motivate, to guide, and give feedback on students' performance. Now, flipped classrooms are the outcome of various pedagogical theories. One educationist, Ellen, has looked at various pedagogical theories and has examined their applications to the flipped classroom. These theorists include number of pedagogical theories like Vygotsky, Bloom, Keller, Skinner. So Ellen has tried to give a concise introduction to each theorist fundamentals and applies it to the flipped classroom. I'm not going to, you see, explain theories in brief, but of course I'm going to give the main features of a particular theory and how it is linked with flipped classroom. Firstly, uh, a Russian developmental psychologist, Lev Vygotsky, and he saw he basically proposed a theory of development of higher cognitive functions in students, higher cognitive function beyond application. And he saw reasoning as emerging through practical activity in a social environment. So his theories emphasize that students can reach a higher level of understanding through group work, which is a key component of flipped classroom. And you know that lectures emphasize conformity, memorization, whereas group work emphasizes problem solving or application of knowledge. Bloom, an American education psychologist, and you have heard him. This theory stated that student must master prerequisite material before moving on to learn the subsequent information. Prerequisite, you are giving them. So the focus of instruction should be on the time required for individual students to master any given information. So as such, according to this theory, students receive individual instructions, study at their own pace, and receive regular formative assessment from their teacher. I'll give you a brief outline of the format of self-learning material containing the inbuilt practice task questions, providing feedback, and also the same learning material can be presented in the form of a computer assisted instruction package. I'll give you both these because self learning material are very essential. As a teacher, all of you are required to develop self learning material, either the PDF format or the CI package, and upload the same in the website of your organization, or to you can pass on that PDF to the students in their WhatsApp. They are required to study at home, and in the classroom actual problem solving takes place. Keller, American experimental psychologist, he developed personal system of instruction. This lays emphasis on mastery learning. So he developed the Keller plan, the important component of which consisted of unit mastery. That is, you have broken down the content into small chunks. Each chunk contains the information in an interactive mode, followed by questions, followed by feedback. So first chunk of material, then second chunk of material, then third chunk of material, and so on, the complete chapter. And the student must demonstrate mastery of the content before moving on to the next unit or the chunk. And this is an important component of flipped classroom. B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist and behaviorist, and he developed theories of reinforcement. Reinforcement is applied to sequential learning. So before mastery a concept, he is given reinforcement, and then he moves to the next one. So this is the component in the self-learning material. I'll give you the this one. So a flipped classroom is one that inverts the typical cycle of content acquisition and application so that students gain necessary knowledge through e-content. It may be in the form of self-learning material. If you see, it is self-learning material is different from textbook material, because self-learning material is written with lot of illustrations. Self-learning material contains interactive language, the language which the teacher uses while delivering instruction in the classroom. That is, if you as a learner reads the self-learning material, and when reading, you will feel that you are not reading out the text, that the teacher is talking to you. So in that language, I'll give you one, specimen. And then teacher guides students to actively and interactively clarify and apply that knowledge during class. So content delivery may take variety of form: video lesson, not more than of 10 to 12 minutes duration. So the video can be prepared by the teacher himself, or you can use the video developed by third party that is available on YouTube. As a teacher, you have to identify the adequate or appropriate video from the YouTube and give that link to the students. Then it also includes online collaborative discussion, maybe through WhatsApp, digital research, text reading, etc. Now, what these educationists have said about flipped classroom, Bergman and Sams, they say it is that which is traditionally done in class is now done at home, and that which is done traditionally as homework is now completed in the classroom. So this is the reverse of traditional classroom teaching. Smith says flipping involves pushing lecture material outside the classroom as a form of homework, leaving more time in class for interaction or for engaging exercises. And you see, we have noted down the reactions of the students after giving exposure through flipped classroom, and they have found flipped classroom as the as the most appropriate tool of retaining the information for a longer period of time. It has helped them to learn content meaningfully. Now, what these people say, a set of pedagogical approaches that move most information transmission teaching out of class and using class time for learning activities that are active and social, and require students to complete pre and post class activities to fully benefit from in class work. So before class, and this is the old model before the flip, and this is now after the flip. So students are assigned something to read before class. Students try to follow along. Now here the students are guided through self-learning module that ask and collect questions. Student practice performing the skill. They are expected to learn. Now during a class, the teacher tries to get through all the material. Students attempt the homework usually with delayed feedback. Here, feedback is immediate. Here, the teacher posts additional explanation. The students are equipped to seek help where they know they need it, and teacher continues guiding students towards deeper understanding. Now, flipped is a form of blended learning. They learn new material through reading material or online by watching video, usually at home. And what used to be homework is now done in the class. So in literature, I have come across a few terminology like some says that it is backward classroom or reverse instruction or flipping the classroom or the reverse teaching. Now we can associate, we can you see comprehend better if we relate with Bloom's taxonomy. So students are provided with self-learning material before class, so they are at the stage of remembering. To extent they can also understand the material if the content is fully rich with visuals, videos, examples. Now when they come to the class, during class they are able to apply whatever they have learned at home. They can analyze it, and after the class you can give them some project in small group where they can be operative at evaluating and creative stage. So as such, flipped classroom, friends, is not just online video. You have given them link of videos, and they are watching themselves. This is not the online class. This is not just reading textbook material or learning material. You have given them reading material to study at home, so there is no other thing. No, it is not about replacing teacher with videos, with learning material. It is not an online class. It is not where students are working without structure. It means for this mode of imparting instruction, you require a planning. You need to organize your lecture. You need to structure your lecture also. It is not the students working in isolation. Of course, they are studying at home individually, but when they come to the classroom, active participation of all the members are is possible. It is not the students are spending the entire class online. Rather, flipped classroom is a means to increase teacher contact time, because in a lecture traditional mode, the teacher is concerned with pouring the information. He is busy in delivering instruction and gets hardly some time to clarify students doubts or give some hardly any time to give them questions, to provide them feedback. But here everything is given in advance. The students teacher time is much more in the classroom. Teacher can ask question, students can seek clarification, so there is more contact time. It is an environment that increases student responsibility. Now you see, we are making them responsible to read at home, to study the material at home, and if they fail to read or study the material at home, they will not be able to participate in the classroom activities. In the beginning, you may find that some students have learned the material at home, some have not done, but gradually, because you are giving them certain inbuilt, you are giving them some assignment, or say some test, MCQ based test, and you have told them that the internal assessment will be based upon these tests. So blending of direct instruction and constructivist learning, that it is a class where all students are engaged class. In a traditional, only one or students get the opportunity to answer the question. It is a class where even the absentees won't fall behind. Say one student was absent yesterday, so he needs not worry because the material is with him. He can seek clarification at a later time, but the material is with him. And it is a class where all students are engaged in their learning. So shift the traditional mode, the paradigm is shifted from traditional mode to blended instruction, and flipped classroom is one form of blended instruction. Now coming to the advantages of flipped classroom over traditional method of teaching and learning. Firstly, flipped mode teaches students to take responsibility for their own learning. I have already told you. You are making them accountable. So, secondly, it creates a way to easily personalize and differentiate the classroom, because flipped classroom allows the direct instruction to be asynchronous. So differentiation for each student becomes possible. The pace of learning is appropriate for each student. So this personalizes the learning for each student, because he is studying the material again and again at home, or watching the video again and again, because he can study at his or her own pace. It makes learning the center of the classroom. Students come to the class with the purpose of learning. So entire focus of classroom is on what students have or have not learned. It gives students immediate feedback. So that is indirectly reduces teacher paperwork, because there are inbuilt questions, there are feedback to those questions, immediate feedback. I'll show you the specimen. It provides opportunities for remediation. The class moves on with or without students. So if the students fail to answer the question, the teacher can give supplement material in the classroom. Multiple means of learning the content: videos, assignments, textbooks, internet. Multiple chances for demonstrating understanding: verbal discussion, videos, detailed PowerPoint presentation. It has changed the role of the teacher. In a traditional mode, the teacher stands stationary in front of the classroom, pouring the information and being the center of attention. Now, in this case, teachers spend the time doing what is most important: helping them, leading small groups, working with individuals who are struggling. Okay. It ensures that all students are involved. because everybody will be involved in the classroom activity, and it makes hands-on activity more personal. Hands-on activity helps students learn in a way other than direct instruction. You see, before flipped mastery, the teacher conduct these hands-on experiences in a large group. The whole class receive instructions on the experiment, and all the students conduct the activity simultaneously. Now, because the flipped model is asynchronous, students can conduct the experiments when they are ready to do so. So the time varies from one student to another student. Now, the benefits of flipped classroom to the students and the teacher. These are the benefits to the student. They can read, they can learn at their own pace. They are given opportunities for review because material is with them. Material is ready and prepared for absentees also. Students take ownership of their learning and they actively work with the peers in small groups, and they need not struggle to complete the homework alone. Now, benefit to the teacher, focus on guide on the side and not acting as a sage on the stage. They can spend more time for supplementing with practice. They spend less time in managing student classroom behavior. Even teacher can collaborate with other teachers in preparing the content material, and in this way you can connect with the students, and teachers are involved with student learning rather than mere lecturing. Now, as I said that it demands a special role in the context of flipped classroom. So in order to function as an effective teacher in the flipped mastery environment, you need to understand a few characteristics, most important or essential characteristics. Firstly, the teacher should be a content master. You see, a teacher who is not proficient in his content cannot operate in flipped mastery class. So the ability to move mentally from one topic to another is necessary. That is, a comprehensive understanding of the interconnectedness of the content is essential, because the teacher has given the learning material to the student to study at home. So in the classroom, he will not be dictating the notes, rather he will be clarifying students' doubts. So for that case, he needs to be proficient in his subject. The teacher must be able to admit when he or she doesn't know the answer to the student questions, and must be willing to research an answer with the student. So sometimes in a flipped classroom, a question comes to the teacher for which he doesn't have the answer. He can pose this question to the entire class. This is one way. Some student can give the hint, if or teacher can recollect or recall with that during that time. Or if the question is very difficult and the no one knows the answer, so you as a teacher can honestly admit that I'll study at home, you please also study at home, so tomorrow we'll take up this question. Okay, so you have to admit honestly. The teacher must be able to flow through a class period in a non-linear fashion. because all the students are at different places in their mastery and understanding of the learning outcome. So it is the role of the teacher to meet each student where he or she is. The teacher must be able to give up control of the learning process to the students, and the teacher needs to play the role of a supportive coach. That is, teacher here is to encourage the student, because students need a coach who can come alongside them and guide them. So teachers tell them what they are doing right, and they can also clear up their misconception. So instead of standing in front of the students, pouring the information and being the center of the attention, flipped classroom method has helped teachers doing what is most important, and that is helping the students, leading small groups, working with individuals who are struggling, and so on. Now, let me share with you uh, findings of a research study which was conducted by Chan Louis and you see the other members. They have examined 46 articles on the effectiveness of flipped classroom in medical education with different learning outcome, because initially this method was uh, you see applied in medical education. So the Chen Louis and others, they have reported the findings in terms of effect of flipped classroom, perception of flipped classroom, that is for perception of students about flipped classroom, attitude changes after using the flipped classroom, and knowledge skills and behavior changes with the flipped classroom curriculum. Now, with respect to the effect of flipped classroom, this review suggested inconsistent findings regarding the effects of flipped classroom in student learning, with some suggesting benefits while others reporting negligible improvement over traditional teaching method. But let us take it in positive way, because many institutions have started adopting this as a mode of imparting instruction, and I will request all the participating teachers to select at least 2 to 3 topics for which you are not going to deliver the instruction in the classroom. You will be preparing self learning material or CI package, giving them in advance, and then actual problem solving to happen in the classroom. Please try it out. Now, with respect to perception of flipped classroom, here we have obtained very positive results. They have reported that students were generally satisfied with this approach, particularly the usefulness of the self-learning material because of easy access to resources for self-paced learning. And with respect to attitude changes, positive changes were reported in this review study. Studies have suggested that students reported increased enjoyment, decreased boredom, and greater task value in flipped classroom, because there are a lot of illustrations in the learning material. Videos are also equipped. And with respect to knowledge, skills, and behavior changes with the flipped classroom curriculum, the survey has reported mixed results. Secondly, some studies found positive results while others suggesting no differences. And this review further provided several suggestions for future research that you can take up, you can carry more research in other areas. And the experimental design can be set up for studying the effect and retention of the students through flipped classroom. And there are other studies which are available in the literature using the flipped classroom to enhance English as a foreign language learning, examining flipped class. I have given the references, and uh, you can take a pic of this one and see yourself the results available. And all these studies have reported significant gain by students when they have gone through flipped classroom. Flipped classroom in organic chemistry, effect of flipped classroom model in introductory college mathematics, and action research study, impact of flipped teaching on student performance at school level. So the goal of the classroom flipped model is to find an approach that would make it possible for faculty to move from sage on the stage to guide on the side, reducing the amount of time spent in class on lecturing, opening up more class time for the use of active learning strategies, focusing more on understanding and application rather than recall of facts, while not sacrificing presentation of the factual base. To provide students with more control, give students a greater sense of their responsibility, and provide students with more opportunities to learn from their peers. Now, coming to the steps for the implementation of a flipped classroom. Firstly, as a teacher, you need to specify the learning outcome clearly. Okay, so specify learning outcome. Learning outcome, I think you know, is a sentence or statement which describes what the student will be able to do at the end of a unit of instruction, and you need to prepare a plan also. You need to develop e-content, you need to develop video also. In case video is not a you are not able to develop video, you can select an appropriate video from the Google or YouTube for the learning purpose, and provide these material to all the students in advance. Then assure that they have access to videos and e-content, and incorporate number of you see uh, engaging learning activities to be done in class, like uh, interaction, discussion, problem questioning, experimental debate, lab work, etc. And also create multiple versions of you see summative assessment through Google form. You can also prepare, and you can also you see employ other you see strategies that can be used in class activities, like active learning. You can allow your students to apply concepts in class where they can ask peers or teachers for feedback. Peer instruction, okay, students can teach each other. Collaborative learning, this could increase the student engagement, enhance their understanding, and promote collective intelligence. You can also think of problem based learning, discussions or debate, etc. Now, let us have a look at the e-content which you have to develop, which you have to give in advance to the students. And e-content can be in the form of self-learning material. Why I say self-learning material? It is a method of providing individualized instruction in which student is active, proceeds at his or her own pace, and is provided with immediate knowledge of result. Content is broken down into small chunks. Each chunk, you see, contains some input in interactive form, followed by practice task question, followed by feedback to practice task, including the references, including the references of references from literature on, you see, or some YouTube videos also. So self-learning material has got five major characteristics. Firstly, self-explanatory. Self-learning material has to be made on the principle of self-explanation. That is, self-learning material is to be developed in such a manner that doesn't require any intermediary, that is the teacher, to explain the content. Of course, teacher has to be there when the students ask for clarification. That part is different. But here, everything is covered in interactive language, simple steps, structured and organized. You can study yourself. So the content is written in small language, in simple language, and that too interactive language and in small chunks, to help learners who are sitting at home assimilate the content by reading and working through the instruction. So content is organized in a logical and integrated manner. So basically, a teacher is inbuilt into the text. Secondly, self-contained. Everything, all examples, videos, because they don't have any, you see, access to library or other things at home. Self-directed. They are to study at home. So self-instructional, self-motivating. You need to include good visuals, simple language, highlight the major part in blocks, give lot of diagrams that will motivate, and self evaluating. At the end of the material, there is a post, you see, a post test for the student to give their answer. It can be through Google Form also. So now I'll show you the specimen of the self-learning material. Let me show you. Just see title of the material, your name, then objectives of the module. After reading the module, you will be able to then learning outcome which are specific in nature, then prerequisite knowledge, then introduction. Dear learners, as you know, this is interactive language. Okay. Then the material is broken down into 3 to 4 chunks. We call it here as subtopic 1. So systems approach, examples, illustrations, important line in a block to gain the attention. Then you have a practice task question. So if you are preparing a computer assisted instruction, you can go for multiple choice questions, practice task. Then we have the feedback to practice task, that is self evaluation to practice task. Then appreciation that you have performed well. Then you have the second subtopic, that is second chunk. different font color, font type, font size you can use to gain the attention and to make it very much interesting to the student. Let us take an example here. Then practice tasks again, because he is to study at home. To practice task question, and then self evaluation to practice task. Then third chunk, then references and bibliography for further study. Then support learning resources. You have given the videos, okay, web resources. So it will take some time to develop it, but after that you can make updation in it. You can edit it. Now I'll show you the computer is assisted instruction package. One you see example. And if you are able to prepare it, then it will be very interesting to you and for the students also. Now you see, for developing computer assisted instruction package, you need to know difficult software like toolbook, authorware. But I have improvised on PowerPoint. Now you see, in a PowerPoint, you see, uh, you press key, any key, or you click the mouse on the screen, the next screen comes. Now for this computer assisted instruction package, I have locked the mouse and keyboard and instead created the buttons. And for moving further, the student has to click a particular button. Now I'll show you the specimen. Let me first of all share it. Is this video visible to you?
Yes, sir. Video is visible.
Okay, okay. Now I'll start. Is audio also okay?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, dear learners, to massive open online course on self-learning material development. Dear learners, you have already understood the process of design and development of computer-assisted self-instructional material. In this video, you will have a feel of computer-assisted self-instructional material. Let us take an example of uniform and non-uniform velocity from the subject of physics. And the beauty of this CAI package is that it is developed using only PowerPoint presentation. And here we have locked the mouse and we have also locked the keyboard. We have created buttons. Unless the learner presses a particular button, the next screen will appear. So uniform and non-uniform velocity. Now let us start with. So as already informed you that the first screen will display the instructional objectives. That is, at the end of the session, you will be able to. So there are two types of objective written. One is the broad objective and second is the learning outcomes. So understand the concept of average speed, no uniform and no non-uniform velocity, understand the concept of acceleration, And learning outcomes are calculate the average speed of a body, identify from the given example whether an object is accelerated, and state the SI units of acceleration. Now in this screen, you will have three buttons: home, previous, and next. Now we'll move to next. Now, in this slide, we want to test the prerequisites possessed by the learner. So, some questions are given. For example, if your car is moving at a speed of 60 km per hour in first 2 hours and 72 km per hour for next 2 hours, it means your car is moving with. Now, there are four options, and the student will select one of these four options. Let us say the option is B, non-uniform speed. Now, the feedback is presented to the student. It is stated, well, your answer is correct. Now, his answer is being reinforced, and the reasoning is also given why he has chosen the right answer. Now, you can move to the next question. Next question: SI unit of velocity are meter per second, centimeter per second, kilometer, and meter per second square. Let us take answer A as the correct answer. So your answer is correct. Again, the student is being reinforced and the reasoning is also given. Now he has to move to the next question. Now you have to move to the next question. Velocity is a vector quantity because it is determined by, again, there are four options. So let us see both magnitude and direction. C option is correct. Now click here and you will find the feedback. Now this man is walking with a velocity of 2 km per hour in west direction. It means it contains both the magnitude as well as the direction. Now next. Now the input is given, and already you have studied that the matter is divided into small inputs, and the language is quite simple and interactive. Now let us read it. On her way to Agra, Anjali travels by her car, which is moving at a speed of 50 km per hour for first hour and 60 km per hour for next hour. What is average speed of car? Well, average speed, this is new term for you. Now you will study about average speed. The question which comes in mind is it necessary that an object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time? No, it is not possible. An object cannot cover equal distance in equal intervals of time. For example, while traveling in a car, it is not possible to keep car at a constant speed. So it is better to express speed in terms of average speed. So you see that the matter is presented in interactive tone. Now we move to next screen. When we travel in a vehicle, the speed of vehicle changes from time to time depending upon the conditions existing on the road. So in such a situation, the speed is calculated by the ratio of the total distance traveled by the vehicle to the total time taken for the journey. And this is called as the average speed. Now you will notice that the main idea is presented in different font color, font type you can use differently. So there is one animation. Now next. If an object covers a distance s1 in time t1, distance s2 in time t2, and distance sn in time tn, then the average speed is given by this formula. So again, the main idea is given in a rectangle, and it is given in bold letters, different font color, font type. So thus, when we say that the car travels at an average speed of 60 km per hour, it doesn't mean that the car would be moving with the speed of 60 km per hour throughout the journey. Now, next screen, there is one inbuilt practice task question. A car travels 100 km at a speed of 50 km per hour and returns with a speed of 40 km per hour. What is the average speed of whole journey? Now, the student can take his own time and he can calculate. Say the answer is C, 44.4 km per hour. So again, his answer is being reinforced. The calculation is also given, and now he will move to the next screen. You can take an example of a car. As in the case of uniform speed, car will have uniform velocity if it covers equal distance in equal intervals of time, no matter how small these time intervals may be. but in a specified direction in a straight line. So in this example, car will be having uniform velocity only if it travels 30 km per hour in same direction. Now you can move to the next once you have read this material. But what will happen if car changes its direction? Yes, change in direction will lead to a change in the velocity of the car. So velocity of car will not remain uniform as given in the definition. So let us think over how can we change velocity of a body. There are two ways. One is you change the speed of the body or change the direction of the body by keeping speed constant. Next, now you can take an example. Two athletes, Ram and Sham, are running with a uniform speed of 5 meters per second. Ram is running on a straight track. Now this animation is here. Sham moves on a circular track. For a layman, both Ram and Sham are moving with uniform velocity, but for a physicist only. Of course, Ram is running with uniform velocity because there is no change in his speed and direction of motion. Whereas in case of Shyam, who is running along a circular track, the direction of motion is changing at every instant as circle is polygon with infinite sides and Shyam has to change his direction at every instant. So now he can move to the next slide, or if he wants to study the previous slide, he can click the previous button. Okay, now let us move to next. So you can now define these terms. A body is said to be moving with uniform velocity if it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time in a specified direction. So a body is said to be moving with variable velocity if it covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time and vice versa in a specified direction, or if it changes the direction of the motion. Now, next slide. Let us take an example. Car is moving on a road. What about its velocity? Will it be uniform or not? Answer to this problem is velocity of car is not uniform because even if the speed of car is constant, the car is changing its direction continually. This is the case of changing velocity, that is velocity is variable or non-uniform velocity. Next slide. Now you can check your understanding. A bus is moving on hilly road with speed of 20 km per hour. It means bus is moving with non-uniform velocity. So you are correct. So again, the feedback is given. Next slide. This problem has given rise to the new concept in the field of motion, and that is acceleration. So what is acceleration? Let us take an example of a car. It starts from rest, that is its initial velocity is 0. At 0 second, v is 0. After 5 seconds, v is 10 meter per second. After 10 seconds, it is 20 meter per second. In this situation, car is changing its velocity by 10 meter per second after every 5 seconds. Now next, car is accelerating. So again, there is some animation. The data is given. In above example, car changes its velocity after every 5 seconds. If the velocity of the car increases, the body is said to be accelerating. Now you can define the concept of acceleration. Now the formula is given in a rectangle and a different font color, different font type. Next. Now you can try to answer this. So again, there is one question given here. Now you can move to next slide. Try to find answer to this problem. Say a car starting from rest acquires a velocity of 36 km per hour in 5 seconds. Its acceleration is. So using that formula given in the previous slide, you can find out the answer. Say answer is B. So your answer is correct. Again, feedback is given. So next slide. Well, the term acceleration need not always mean that the velocity of a moving body is always increasing. It can also decrease, remain the same, or become zero. Now, one example is given here. So train starts from rest and gains a speed of 100 meter per second. That is, it accelerates after some time. Now, this illustration is given here and the relevant content is also given. Now, magnitude and direction of acceleration changes with changing velocity of a body. So here again illustration is given and you can take some of the illustrations from the website. Now end session test, that average speed is equal to, so say answer is D. So your answer is correct. Okay, your answer is being reinforced. A body moving with a constant speed of 20 meter per second and following a zigzag path has, say, non-uniform velocity. Say answer is B. Your answer is correct. So next, the SI unit of acceleration is, say, meter per second square. Say you have chosen B as the right answer. So it will say that your answer is not correct because acceleration is this, unit of acceleration is this. So your answer is not being reinforced. Now next. So at the end, the whole chapter is summarized. So the main points are highlighted in the simple language, and at the end, thank you very much. So it means you can either go to the previous slide or you can go to the home page. So home page was this uniform and non-uniform velocity. So dear learners, in this video, you had a feel of computer assisted self-instructional material, and you can develop self-instructional material using PowerPoint presentation mode.
So, friends, now I stop here and open this session for discussion. And how did you like this CI package? I have given you the way it was presented. So you need not give the narration because the student has to study the material himself or herself at home. So you can give the narration, you can remove the narration. So thank you, Amanji, and thank you, Dr. Amandeep.